And at the forefront of these calls for transparency is one congressman who alleges that a massive UFO cover-up is happening at the highest levels of government. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett is here with us tonight. Congressman, welcome. Great to see you as always. So this latest report acknowledges over 500 unidentified aerial phenomena, also claiming that the majority of new sightings come from American military personnel like our Navy and our Air Force. What do you make of this report?
Well, first of all, I would ask everybody to say a prayer for my buddy Greg Stubbe, congressman from Florida, took a bad fall tonight, and I talked to his wife, and he's expected to make a full recovery. But I think it's a complete cover-up. And if you go to the second Roswell incident that you alluded to, they first came out and said a saucer has been recovered. The military comes out, the press comes out. The next day say, oh no, it's a balloon, it's a hot air balloon. This has been a cover-up from day one. It really boils down to arrogance and greed, the greed and arrogance of our military-industrial complex and people in Washington. I wouldn't trust them if they told me the sun was coming up tomorrow, dadgummit. They don't. The video that you're seeing right now, the famous Tic Tac video, is the one that people ought to be looking at. There's our best pilots in the world are the ones that you hear on the tape if you hear the audio to that, and they're describing something that we do not control. If it was a human being in there, they would literally turn into a ketchup package. I mean, our bodies are not designed to withstand the G-forces. We do not have the technology. There is not even a vapor trail following that. So this is something out of this world. This is a complete cover-up, and it has been from the beginning of this. And for whatever reason, it boils down to arrogance and greed. Currently, I believe a lot of it's out of our own hands, out of the government's hands, and some of the big international corporations have the material that is being described in this. And the people at the Pentagon are wringing their hands right now because this was leaked, this video, and that's the only reason we're talking about it, because this video the people are watching right now was leaked, and they claimed the military said it didn't exist. Washington said it didn't exist. It was a hoax. And lo and behold, guess what? They say now it exists. Now we're supposed to believe
now
them.
It exists.
Yeah, they got their hands caught in the cookie jar is what happened, ma'am. And the American public ought to be alarmed about that. We should talk to your Congress people. Say, hey, come forward with this stuff. We can handle it. This is ridiculous. This is the arrogance of power, and it needs to end today.
Well, I think we know, even in just the past week with what we've been watching with Document Gate, that transparency is certainly lacking with our federal government right now. Yeah. What are you hearing from your colleagues on this topic? Obviously, you in the House GOP, you have a lot you're investigating right now, but what are you hearing as far as their concerns with these sightings?
Well, I think the one concern we're having is there is actual military craft. I mean, there are craft in our military airspace that we do not control. And to me, that should be a very compelling reason to find out what the heck is going on, and the government needs to come forward and tell us what they know. And currently, they're not very forthcoming, ma'am. The so-called hearing they had in front of the Intelligence Committee that was the public we were allowed to see, it was a joke. The two people they put in charge of it, I'm sure they're patriotic, great Americans, but ma'am, they had no clue about anything. I was told I was going to be able to ask a question right up to the point I was getting ready to ask my question. I received a text and said, in fact, no, you will not be able to. One of the pilots who is on one of the videos was in the audience. They wouldn't let him come in, but he came in anyway. He had press credentials. Somebody gave him some press credentials, and he wasn't allowed to testify. So this is a cover-up. It needs to come to an end, and the arrogance needs to stop.
It sure does, Congressman. I don't have a lot of time left, but before we go, I want to ask you, there's now a spotlight on that 1945 New Mexico UFO incident. It's gone relatively under the radar in comparison to Roswell in 1947. Do you believe that this new amendment in the defense spending bill will force any new information that might clarify what happened that day?
Absolutely. Whistleblowers are coming forth, but the problem is when they come forward, is it in a classified briefing? And when Congress people like myself are briefed in a classified setting, it means they cannot comment on it. By law, they can be arrested for that. So I think the cover-up will continue. They're going to say they're moving ahead, but don't trust the government, ma'am. It's just, I mean, look at the Kennedy assassinations. They won't even let loose. When they do, they let loose a piece of paper. It looks like a piece of Swiss cheese. Who are they trying to protect? This is ridiculous, ma'am. This is classic Washington arrogance, and it needs to stop today. You need to demand from our leadership that it stops.
Well, we are doing that, and we're certainly going to have you back here to give us more information as you obtain it. Congressman Tim Burchett with a great backdrop there, by the way. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us tonight.
Those are some guns my dad brought back. He
That's right.
liberated in the Pacific.
Amazing.
Thank you, ma'am.
God bless
Yes,
him.
ma'am.
Love that.
Yes, ma'am. He was
All
great.
right, we'll see you soon, sir. Thank you.